What's happening, Wisdom Warriors? Back at it for another video. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Hope you had a nice weekend. Hope you had a chance to catch the Sunday sermon. It was very powerful, very beautiful message. I really felt called to bring forth the messages that were coming through. And I think we're kind of going to piggyback off of that a little bit and also talk a little bit about cleansing the mind, cleansing the thoughts, detoxing, our thoughts, and, just having that awareness of, just how our thoughts create our reality, and how a lot of these different things like social media and television and surfing the internet and all these things can essentially uh, you know create in a way how we think on a daily basis. And so doing regular detoxes like dopamine detoxes and social media fasts. It's not only that we need to fast our bodies and cleanse our bodies from the food we ingest and put in, but we also have to cleanse from certain things that we're um, essentially listening to or watching. Um, you know, uh, it kind of dictates our everyday lives to an extent, pretty much. If you're listening to, and I'm not hating on any kind of music anybody listens to, if you listen to rap music or hip hop or heavy metal or, oldies or, new age, whatever the case may be, um, I can tell you right now, from experience of my own, that when I used to listen to, music with extreme profanity and just, speaking of women in low grades, and just terminology that wasn't so great for the mind, it affects you. It affects your daily, everyday life, and how you move in your life and what you are attracted to, and and things that you do. You know, and it's like, not only do we need to clean up our diets, but we have to clean up what we're taking in subconsciously, because the mind is connected to the body, but at the same time, the mind has so much power um, to heal the body and to essentially control the body and control in ways that what we do. It's a very powerful thing, and the things we take in, because it is considered food, it's food for the mind. And so what we're listening to, what we're paying attention to, what we're giving our attention to, be it social media too, can vastly affect our everyday life. I noticed when I was on social media for a very long time, I noticed myself becoming very jealous, becoming very in tune with what others are doing versus what I'm doing in my life. And it almost like kind of dictates how your life will go, because you're giving more attention to what others are doing versus what you're doing. And then when we worry about, which I found myself doing, I literally found myself doing with this channel. I found myself, critiquing and judging myself because I didn't feel like I was it was picking up enough steam, and it was picking up steam. It wasn't picking up steam fast enough, as fast as I thought it should, you know. And then you look at other people's channels and you see the growth happening way faster, and then you wonder, well, why isn't that happening for me? You know, and we become very judgmental, and we become very, um, you know, we just start paying more attention to what others are doing and how their channels are growing. And you know, if you're on Instagram or some of these other social media platforms, you start to be like, well, I just posted this photo and I have this amount of followers, but yet I'm only getting a certain amount of likes, I'm only getting a certain amount of shares. You really begin to judge yourself, you know, based on these things in the external. And then you start to put pressure on yourself, and then you start to judge yourself and put yourself down, like, I'm not good enough, or is my content good enough, or are people actually resonating with it, you know. And I know that a lot of us content creators do that. It can be very detrimental to your mental health. It can be very detrimental in general as a whole in your everyday life, in what you're, down to what you're wearing, down to how you look, how you show up in the world. And when you start to focus on you and you do these detoxes and these cleanses, not only cleansing the food, but cleansing in all areas. I spoke about this on other videos that I literally probably did maybe over 2 years, and I still am not fully, first of all, I'm not on social media. YouTube is probably the only thing that I am currently on that I can think of, other than like Telegram. And it has made a huge difference in my life leaving that, because when I was a part of that, I judged everything about myself, and I judged others big time. It's kind of like when you go out into the physical world, which we're in that anyways in general, but when you step outside and you go to a supermarket, we're judging all the time, not only ourselves but others, you know. And social media just amplifies it. It amplifies the judgment of ourselves and others, and just adding to the things like down to what kind of car you drive, what area you live in, what type of house you live in. It's all ways of judgment. So you're just adding it and amplifying it in social media. Oh, well, what do my friends have? What what are they driving? What are they doing on a daily basis? And then half of the time on social media, it's not the real truth. They're not going to show you the messy parts of their life. They're not. I promise you that. They only show what they think looks so great to the outside world. They're not going to show them fighting with their partner or their family member, or they're not going to show, not everybody. I mean, you're going to have a select few that will do that. I don't know that they're going to put on there a video of them fighting, but they may put, you know, what happened, and, you know, hey, I just had this difficulty with my partner or whatever, you know. I did remember seeing things like that when I was on social media, but I can tell you right now, it is there is a vast difference when you don't sit there scrolling all day and seeing what everybody else is doing and watching what everybody else is doing, instead of paying attention to your own life and what you're doing in your life. You know, it's like, what for? You know, does it excite you? Does it give you, you know, I don't know. I really don't know. I never really kind of resonated with that, even when I was on social media. I guess I was just doing it because I was just doing it, and it became a habit. And my hand kind of just, like, it becomes like something that you don't even think about anymore because it becomes an addiction. And you're waiting for like, oh, I just posted this photo and this video, and you're waiting to see how many likes it gets to get that dopamine hit, you know, that massive dopamine hit, or sitting there scrolling all day and like just seeing what everybody else is doing and getting in their business and gossiping. And it is just an endless loop of garbage as far as I'm concerned. And when you start realizing that, and I think when you actually have those dopamine fasts, and not only from that, but from food, from just everything, you realize that you don't need that anymore. You realize that it doesn't serve your highest good. Like, you have to ask yourself, is this really serving me by doing this? Am I really expanding from this? Am I gaining anything from it? Really, are you gaining anything from sitting on social media all day and commenting on people's posts and liking their photos and them doing a selfie of themselves and waiting to get validation from everyone that they have on their friends list? It becomes just, I don't know, I just really think it's kind of stupid. I really believe that, you know, the hurt people that created it are just hurt themselves, and then they sit here and set it up in a way that, excuse me, set it up in a way that it is really toxic, and it does become addictive. But if you really step back and you zoom out, it's really stupid. It's funny how they created it to, oh, we're creating it so that you can keep in touch with your family and friends that you're not in close contact with, and you know, you could keep in touch with what they're doing and what you're doing. And what for, man? What for? Like, I never had that when I grew up, and I didn't need it. So what makes you think you need it now? Like, if you use it in moderation, like, everything is good in moderation. Everything can work in moderation when you don't overdo it. When that overdoing comes into play, it becomes a problem. It becomes an addiction. It becomes something that you habitually do every single day, and then you end up finding out how many hours were you really on your phone? How many hours were you consuming? Like, you're probably consuming way more than you're actually giving out and sharing out, which has to be a good balance. It always has to be a good balance. You can't be consuming too much and not giving back and not sharing, you know. And I learned that a while back. I learned that it comes a point that we are consuming so much that we have to give it away. We have to give it back, you know, like, versus just sitting there just consuming everything. Because again, it's still food. Even though you're physically not putting it in your mouth and eating it and chewing it and swallowing it and digesting it, you're still digesting it through your mind, through your eyes. You're processing it within the body. And remember, no matter what we're doing, like, whether you're in an argument with somebody or you're watching something on TV or on the internet, and let's say it's some kind of fight that somebody's in, and you're consuming that and you're watching it, your mind doesn't know any different. It doesn't know that you're not physically there and you're not involved in that argument or fight. It doesn't know that. It doesn't know the difference. So automatically your body's taking that stuff in as if you were physically there fighting with those people. Right? So essentially, what does that mean? That you're taking that trauma on, not to the extent as if you were physically there in that fight, because there can be a level of you being actually emotionally involved in it. But you just sitting there zombified, Krispy Kreme glazed eyes over while you're watching the TV, and subconsciously it's like you're in a hypnotic state and you're taking in that information hypnotically, if that makes any sense. And so when you're doing that, and be it watching a YouTube video of two kids fighting, and they're arguing back and forth, and you're watching it, and you're so like into it. You're like literally like zoned out, and you're into that video like nothing around you can, like you don't even hear any noises around you. You're so into it and so focused. That's a hypnotic state. And now you're taking that information into the body, and you're just adding more trauma and pain that you had nothing to do. You're just, it's just like enjoyment to you that you think, but the body and brain doesn't know any different. It hears it as if you are involved in that. It's taking it on as if you were involved in it. You're absorbing it just as if you were involved in that. There is a level of emotion or emotional attachment, like as if you knew those people and you like were in person and you had a history with them. There's a much bigger emotional attachment, so to speak, to that. So there's different levels, but you're still absorbing it mentally, physically, everything on a mental, a physical level. And it's still affecting you, whether you believe it or not. Like you could say, well, I'm just watching it. I'm awake. I know better. It's going in the subconscious, whether you think it, whether you like it or not. It is. You're absorbing it. Not to say that you can't have these things that you enjoy, and with moderation, of course, and being selective as to what you listen to and what you watch and what you eat and what you consume, because everything is consumption regardless of you chewing it and swallowing it. It's still consumption. So yes, it can be very difficult to let go of those things and certain things. And when you've been watching that type of thing majority of your life, I enjoyed watching reality TV for the longest time, forever. I'm starting to realize that the things I used to watch and the things I used to engage with are very difficult for me to do now. That I'm starting to see that more and more, that it's becoming boring to me, or not interesting anymore, or just something that I have to turn off or not watch. I'm starting to find that with a lot of things on YouTube also. And drop it in the comments. Let me know if you've been feeling the same way. If things that you used to do, things you used to eat, things you used to watch, things you used to partake in, if you just don't feel like you're able to do that anymore, do those things anymore, or experience those things. Because I feel like I'm getting the message that a lot of us are going through this now, and the same foods that we used to eat don't taste the same anymore. We don't have the appetite to eat those things anymore. The last over 2 years now, I haven't had sugar, and sweet things don't really do it for me anymore like they used to. And there's not many things that I even bother to eat anymore, because it just doesn't serve me. My body just doesn't want it, and I feel like that is the way we're headed more and more. And you're going to start seeing restaurants changing the foods they serve, because we are all connected. We are all one. We are all a collective as a whole. And as we keep shifting, the whole collective, the whole humanity is shifting. And as we keep changing, these things will change in the supermarkets, in the restaurants, everywhere. It's going to be a gradual shift. It's not going to be like, boom, everything's just going to be gone, and new things are here. It's going to be a gradual change and shift, but it's already happening because I'm seeing it all over the place. People are not resonating with the same things they resonated with before. They're not eating the same things. We're going to healthier things, healthier options, healthier places. And with that, as that happens, the places are either going to change or they're going to disappear. They're going to have to change, or they're going to have to pivot with the ingredients they're serving, the types of foods they're serving, because it comes with supply and demand. And as humanity changes and goes up higher in consciousness, and as we go through this this great awakening, it's going to change. It has to change, and it's changing faster than it changed before, because when I stopped eating dairy back in the 90s because I had to, was forced to. What I found out is it would cause me to get a cold, like a real bad cold, right away, instantaneously. So I had to change. I had to stop eating it, and I haven't had it since then. It's been probably over 20 years, and back then we didn't have almond milk, we didn't have coconut milk, we didn't have soy milk, we had none of that. And now, many years later, we have all these plant-based, dairy-free, vegan dairy items that you never saw in a supermarket. A vegan mac and cheese, I never saw that served in a hot bar in a supermarket. Now you see it. And you go to a coffee shop, you know, one of the ones that are the massive ones, you know what I'm talking about, franchise. They serve almond milk and coconut milk and soy milk, and you know, you go to the donut shop and you get a coffee and they'll give you almond milk or soy milk or coconut milk, whatever. So these options are happening now, and they're seeing supply and demand. They're seeing that the public is demanding something different, and that they need to give other options, or the doors will shut, you know? So this is how, as we change and our demand for things changes, the outer world, the external world will change in that. Will essentially mirror that. And it will essentially, like, kind of, you know, just the stuff that's not in demand will go away, and the stuff that is will be. And you're going to start to see these restaurants and stores and everything in the external start to change as we change. So the more and more you can change internally, because it all starts with us and within, going within, we will see the external, you know, mirror that. So the more you can go within and you can heal from within the trauma and the old patterns and the limiting beliefs and the belief systems that you had, we're all doing it. So you don't want to get left behind, you know, because large percentages of humanity are doing the work and are changing, and we have to all do it. You can't avoid it, because the majority is. There's like a tipping scale. There's a tipping point, is what I meant to say. And we've already tipped the scale. We've already tipped the scale. So there's no going back. There's only going forward. And the more and more of humanity that does do these changes and these shifts and going within and working on ourselves and to change, and changing our diets and changing and doing these dopamine detoxes and cleanses of the mind, and cleansing what you watch and what you listen to, or doing it less and less and less, you will start to see the channels fall off that are not for our highest and greatest good. The food restaurants, the supermarkets, the stores will start carrying different things. Like I said, you can find almond milk and soy milk and coconut milk more than you could ever find it 10 years ago. It just shows, but that was a slow process. I feel like now it's ramped up massively, and it's happening much faster. That's why you see a lot of plant-based and vegan restaurants popping up all over the place that we would have never seen 5-10 years ago. So you're seeing more healthy options appearing. So with that being said, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, share, comment. Please comment below the video. You help the algorithm. You're helping for others to find these videos and this channel, so we can grow more and more and create this beautiful atmosphere and beautiful community where we can feel safe to share our journey and our experiences to help others, and just meet other like-minded individuals that are putting in the work and are doing the work and are, bettering themselves and, sharing it with each and every one of us. So I love you all so much. Keep going, man. Keep doing your thing. Keep changing. Keep bettering your diet and your cleansing your mind and your spirit and your body. And we're creating this new earth together. It's going to be a beautiful place. It already is, and it's becoming the golden age. This new age of just knowing our worth, knowing our value, knowing who we are, knowing what we want and what we don't want. So yeah, man, I hope you got something from this video. I hope that you don't just watch it for entertainment, that you actually watch it to grow, expand, and evolve, and just to better yourself and to just learn something. Again, please subscribe, share, comment, like. I love you all so much, from my heart to yours. Please take care of yourself and each other and have a wonderful day. From my heart to yours. Let's go, Wisdom Warriors. We got this.